The testimonies featured on this channel are presented as received, reflecting the personal experience and perspectives of the individuals who have generously shared them with us. We encourage our viewers to approach these testimonies with compassion and understanding, as these are personal testimonies of people involved. We also encourage you to always refer to the Holy Bible and the teachings of Jesus Christ and his apostles for guidance. You can consider subscribing to the channel to help promote this ministry. In a quiet town where the call to prayer echoed 5 times a day, lived a girl named Hafsah. She was just 15, kind-hearted, curious, and deeply devoted to her faith. Her parents raised her in the ways of Islam, teaching her to respect the Quran, to pray on time, and always obey her teachers, especially the mom who taught her at the mosque. Hafsah was like many girls her age, innocent and full of dreams. But something happened that would change her life forever. What started as a normal Quran class soon turned into a nightmare. A man she trusted, the one who taught her about God, revealed something dark, something no child should ever face. But Hafsah's story doesn't end in darkness. It's a story of betrayal, truth, courage, and hope. A story that will make your heart race, make you weep, and leave you in awe. It's about how light broke into a place of deep fear, and how Hafsah, along with her parents, found a new life, but not without a cost. They lost everything, except one thing, their faith in the one who truly saved them. This is a real story, and it's time the world heard it. Let's hear from Hafsah.
I still remember the smell of the masjid carpet. It was soft, warm, and always clean. I used to kneel there every evening, reciting the Quran, trying to perfect my tajweed. Our Imam was respected by everyone, Imam Qasim. He had a long beard, a deep voice, and always smiled at my parents. They trusted him. So did I. He used to say, "You are one of my best students, Hafsah. Allah has a plan for you." At first, I felt special when he said that. I believed I was doing something good for Allah. He would correct my pronunciation gently and tell me stories about the prophets. But something changed. One day after class, when the other students had left, he told me to stay behind. "I want to help you memorize faster," he said. "Come, sit closer." My heart was racing. I felt nervous, but I didn't know why. I obeyed. I thought maybe I was just being shy. He looked at me, too long, too strange. Then, he put his hand on my arm. "Hafsah," he whispered, "you are growing up. You must learn the deeper meanings of the Quran. You are no longer a little girl." I pulled back a little. My stomach felt sick, but I couldn't speak. He gave a soft laugh and said, "Don't worry, I'm like your second father." I went home that evening confused. Something in me felt broken. I couldn't explain it. So I stayed quiet. The next day, it got worse. Again, he asked me to stay. This time, he closed the door. He said, "Don't tell anyone what I teach you here. This is special knowledge, only for girls who are mature." He moved closer. I could feel his breath. I froze. My body couldn't move. My voice disappeared. Then he touched my face. I pushed his hand away. "Don't," I said, finally. His face changed. The smile was gone. His eyes were dark and angry. "You disrespect me," he hissed. "You shame your teacher." I ran out. I didn't stop until I got home. I locked my door and cried until my voice was gone. But I didn't tell my parents, not yet. I was afraid they wouldn't believe me. I was just a girl. But that night, something happened. I had a dream. In the dream, I was running in darkness, being chased by something I couldn't see. I cried for help, but no one came. Suddenly, a man in white appeared. His face shone like the sun, and his voice calmed my soul. He said, "Do not be afraid, Hafsah. I see your pain. I will never harm you." I asked, "Who are you?" He said, "I am the Good Shepherd." When I woke up, I felt peace. But I didn't understand the dream. Not yet. The next day, my parents noticed something was wrong. I looked sick. I couldn't eat. I shook when I heard the adhan. Finally, my mother came to my room and said, "Hafsah, what is it? You're scaring me." That's when I broke down. I told her everything. She stared at me in silence. Her face turned pale. She didn't speak. Then she stood up and told my father. I was terrified. What if they blamed me? But my father came into the room, hugged me tight, and whispered, "You did nothing wrong. I am so sorry." We didn't go back to the mosque. And soon, word spread. Imam Qasim called my father. He denied everything. He said I was lying, that I was making stories to avoid memorizing the Quran. Other families believed him. Some women called my mother a disgrace. Some men stared at me when I walked by, whispering things. I was the liar, the shameful girl, the rebel. But then, my mother had a dream too. She saw the same man in white. He said to her, "Your daughter told the truth. Protect her and follow me." My mother asked him, "Are you Isa?" And he said, "I am more than a prophet. I am the way, the truth, and the life." She woke up crying. And for the first time ever, my parents sat with me and asked, "Hafsah, do you want to know more about this Isa?" I nodded. My father found a secret way to contact a Christian man who lived in another town. He used to be Muslim too. He brought us a Bible in secret. We read it together at night, while everyone else in the neighborhood was asleep. My heart burned when I read Jesus' words. "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." For the first time in my life, I felt safe. We kept reading. And one night, in our living room, we knelt together, me, my father, and my mother. And we prayed to Jesus. I gave him my heart. I said, "Jesus, save me. I believe in you." And everything changed. But peace didn't last long. Somehow, someone found out. A neighbor saw the Bible through our window. And the next day, the threats began. People shouted at us when we walked outside. A brick was thrown through our window with a note that said, "Come back to Islam or die." But we refused. We had found the truth. We couldn't go back, even if it meant losing everything. After the brick crashed through our window, my heart started beating like a drum every night. I couldn't sleep. Every small sound outside made me think someone was coming to hurt us. My father taped the broken window, but we knew it was just the beginning. Then, one morning before sunrise, we heard loud banging on our door. Boom! 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 I jumped out of bed. My mother grabbed me and whispered, "Don't say a word." My father opened the door slowly. 5 men stood outside. One of them was our old neighbor, Uncle Rashid. He used to bring us dates during Ramadan. Now, he looked angry, like fire was burning inside him. "Where is the Bible?" he shouted. My father stayed calm. "We don't want trouble." Leave us in peace." But they forced their way inside. They threw our books to the ground, flipped our table, and pushed my father against the wall. "Your daughter is spreading lies. Your wife is dreaming demons," one of them shouted. I was hiding behind the curtain, crying silently. My mother held my hand so tight, I could feel her shaking. Uncle Rashid pointed at me and yelled, "You, Hafsah! You've brought shame to this neighborhood." Then he looked at my father. "We're giving you one chance. Come back to the truth. Denounce the cross, or we'll tell the whole community. Your business will be gone. Your lives will be gone." My father didn't answer. So they left. But their threat stayed. That night, my father sat us down. His voice was heavy. "We can't stay here. They will not stop. Where will we go?" I asked. "There's a safe house," he said. "That Christian man I met, he knows a place. It's far, and it's hidden." I didn't want to leave my home, my books, my room, my cat. But deep inside, I knew we had no choice. We packed in the dark. Just one bag each. And we left before dawn. We took a small bus that drove for hours, through dusty roads and quiet villages. I kept my head down, afraid someone might recognize us. Finally, we reached a small town where nobody knew our names. A kind Christian woman named Miriam opened her door to us. She was in her 60s, with soft eyes and a voice like a mother's hug. She had been Muslim too, long ago. "You are safe here," she said. Her house was small, but full of peace. She gave us a tiny room and some food. For the first time in weeks, I slept deeply. But the peace didn't last. A week later, Miriam got a call. She looked worried. She told my father, "Someone saw you in the market. They followed you." That night, we moved again. This time to a small farmhouse outside the town. It had no electricity, no running water. But we were together. And we still had our Bible. Each night, we lit a candle and read. One evening, I came across something Jesus said that made me cry. "If the world hates you, remember it hated me first." That was exactly how I felt. Everyone hated us. We hadn't hurt anyone. We just chose to follow the truth. But it didn't matter to them. They wanted us silent. Gone. One morning, while we were gathering firewood outside, we heard an engine. A car. Fast. It stopped near the farmhouse. 3 men stepped out. I recognized one. It was Imam Qasim. My stomach twisted. He was holding a long stick. Another man held a rope. They didn't speak. They just walked toward us. My father stood in front of me. "Go inside," he said. But I couldn't move. Imam Qasim shouted, "You shameful traitor! You took your family into kufr. You've poisoned your daughter." He tried to push past my father. Then, something happened. Miriam appeared from behind the house with a phone in her hand. "I've called the police," she said. "They're on their way." The men stopped. They cursed. They spat on the ground. Then they left. I collapsed on the floor, shaking. I thought it was over. But that night, our hiding place was set on fire. We woke up to thick smoke and flames. My mother screamed, "Get out! Get out!" We ran through the smoke. My father kicked open the back door. We escaped with just the clothes on our backs. Everything else, our Bible, our clothes, even my old teddy bear, was burned. The fire department came too late. We stood outside in the cold night, watching everything turn to ashes. I cried so hard, I thought my chest would break. But then Miriam came and hugged me. She whispered, Jesus was also hunted. But he rose again. So will you. Her words gave me strength. But I still had questions. Why, God? I whispered. Why are they allowed to do this? Why do people who say they follow you hurt us? And then, in the middle of my sorrow, I had another dream. In the dream, I was standing in a field of ashes. Everything was gray. Everything was dead. But Jesus stood beside me. He held my hand and said, "Look." And suddenly, flowers began growing from the ashes. Bright. Beautiful. Alive. I woke up weeping. I knew what it meant. Even in the middle of hate, He was still with us. Even when everything is burned, He brings new life. But I had no idea the hardest part was still ahead. After the fire, we had nothing. No home. No food. No Bible. We stayed with Miriam for a few nights, but she told us it wasn't safe for her anymore. People were asking questions. Watching her house. I love you all like my own family, she said. But I can't protect you here. My father hugged her and whispered, "You already saved us more than once." So we left. Again. This time, we didn't even know where we were going. We walked through the night. No cars. No lights. Just the sound of crickets and the wind. My mother's feet were bleeding. I was shivering. Then we saw an old abandoned building near the edge of a forest. It used to be a school, long ago. The roof had holes, and the doors were broken. But it was dry. So we slept there. The next morning, my father went out to look for help. He told us to stay hidden. Hours passed. He didn't return. I started to panic. I ran outside, searching. I kept calling, "Baba, Baba." Then I saw him. Two men had him cornered near the road. One was beating him with a stick. The other was recording with a phone, laughing. "Tell the world you left Islam," one of them shouted. "Tell them you sold your soul." My father was bleeding. But he looked up at the camera and said one thing. "I found the truth. And his name is Jesus." They kicked him again. I screamed and ran to him. They looked at me and froze. Then one said, "Is this the girl? The cursed one?" He came toward me. But suddenly, a voice yelled from behind. "Police! Drop the stick!" The men ran into the trees. A Christian man from a nearby village had seen them and called the police. He and two officers took us to a small clinic. My father had broken ribs. My mother was crying the whole time. That night, the police asked us if we wanted to press charges. But my father just shook his head. "They don't know what they're doing," he said. "They're still blind." The police warned us, "We can't protect you forever. These people are dangerous. You need to leave the country." Leave the country? The idea felt impossible. We didn't have passports. No money. No help. But the Christian man, his name was Daniel, whispered, "There's a group that helps people like you. They can get you out safely." We didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Daniel brought a van. He said, "We're going now. There's no time to waste." We said goodbye to the police and left in silence. The journey took days. Long, cold, and quiet. We hid in the back of the van during checkpoints. Sometimes we couldn't breathe. My mother covered me with a blanket, whispering prayers. Finally, one night, we reached a border. Daniel said, "From here, another man will take you across." We waited under a tree until a man with kind eyes came. He had a small boat. We crossed a river in silence. On the other side, a new country. A new chance. When we stepped out of the boat, my father fell to his knees and wept. "We are free," he whispered. We were taken to a safe house for refugees. It was warm, clean, and full of people like us, former Muslims who now followed Jesus. I made new friends. Some were my age. Some had scars. All had stories. One girl told me how her cousin was beaten for saying the name Isa Almasi. Another boy lost his leg in a fire set by his uncle. But we were alive. And we were growing stronger. One day, in that house, I found a Bible on the table. I opened it to Isaiah 61. It said, "He will give you beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise instead of despair." I cried. That was my life. Ashes. Mourning. Despair. But Jesus had given us beauty. Joy. Praise. Now we are part of a small house church. My father teaches others from the Bible. My mother sings worship songs, even though she never used to sing. And me? I tell my story. I tell others, I was almost destroyed by the man who taught me the Quran. But Jesus found me in the dark. He held me when no one else would. He saved my soul when everyone wanted it gone. Sometimes, I still have nightmares. Sometimes, I still cry. But I am no longer afraid. Because I am no longer alone. To the girl out there who is afraid to speak. To the boy who thinks following Jesus means losing everything. To the family that feels like it's being torn apart. I want to say this. There is a man named Jesus. He walks through fire with you. He never leaves. He never fails. And no matter how many people rise against you, he is greater. My name is Hafsah. I am 15 years old. And I have found the one who is worth losing everything for. His name is Jesus Christ. And I will never turn back. No matter the cost.